Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here, Commissioner. I'm here joined, and I'm honored to be joined by Commissioner Joe Carollo, and we're going to be announcing today that we are, in part, recommending to the Commission a suspension of the temporary shelters in Virginia Key for at least a 6-month period. This is something that the Commissioner and I have come up with together. I've also socialized this with other commissioners as I'm able to do so, particularly with Commissioner Christine King, who's our chairwoman, who wanted to be here today but couldn't for sunshine reasons, and also wanted me to convey that this original plan, which the city will continue to study, was never intended to be on the historic black beach of Virginia Key, which I think is something that has been much discussed over the last few days and weeks, and it's been a big cause for concern for her. First, we want to acknowledge that part of the reason why we're calling for a suspension of the implementation of the homes in Virginia Key is because we acknowledge, and this is something the Commissioner and I have both discussed, that the Functional Zero Plan has not yet begun implementation. So 2 of the 4 member organizations have signed agreements for workforce training. 2 additional of the member organizations, which is Camilla's House, has almost completed its MOU, which will expand current programs for substance abuse, mental health, including workforce training, and will expand its day beds to 24-hour day beds that are used right now by our HEAT team, and will also expand their long-term stay beds to weeks, if not months. The second one is Judge Leifman's facility, which we hope will be opening in December, and we hope will be funded. We're obviously waiting on documentation from the judge and his organization for us to release the $750,000 that we have allocated to them, which can house up to 200 mental health and substance abuse beds in our system. The city has directed, as you all know, $3.1 million in ARPA funding to this program, and this money will hopefully kick in soon. It's important to remember that in addition to the $3 million, the city also gives $7 million every year in homeless-related programs. As with all projects, implementation of such an audacious plan like Functional Zero takes tremendous coordination, and in many respects, there are factors that are out of our control. The Commissioner has been extremely patient, but is understandably frustrated by the lack of progress, particularly in Bayfront Park and Maurice Ferry Park, which are come under the auspice of the Bayfront Park Management Trust that he manages as its chair. We are also announcing today a collaboration with the Commissioner, subject, of course, to Commission approval, for which I have socialized with at least the chair, because it was in part based on ARPA dollars that have been designated to her district that she is allowing us to shift, which would be a $500,000 program, which we call the Bayfront Park Homeless Initiative, and it will also be a 6-month pilot, so it will run concurrent with the 6-month pause as we continue to study these ideas. With this new program, as I said, we're going to put the Virginia Key Initiative on hold as we continue to study it, as well as alternative sites. But we're also calling on the county, Miami-Dade County, to do a variety of things that are very important. One is, and I'll let the Commissioner expand on some of these. One is, as we know, oftentimes people who are arrested throughout Miami-Dade County are released within the city of Miami. That's something that we think is exacerbating the homeless problem. Number 2, we have an issue where we want to ensure that there are beds available for the homeless, that we're trying to offer services to, or in some cases, if they break the law, or if any individual breaks the law, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to give them a choice to be able to get help. I think number 3, we would like the county to help us with the burden of homelessness in terms of, this site doesn't have to be in Miami, in the territorial limits of Miami. Miami has 2/3 of the homeless population in Dade County, but only 1/5 of the actual population of Dade County. So we feel that it's an unfair burden for the city to have to take care of all the homeless without any help or without more help from Miami-Dade County. And so we're going to be asking them to try to help us identify sites that are outside the territorial limits of the city, where we can have additional homeless assistance centers and treatment facilities and housing for the homeless as well. We're socializing a variety of other potential funding sources for housing, permanent and temporary housing for the homeless that we will be discussing in the future. And we hope, again, and call upon the county to match or exceed our contribution. They really should exceed it, since they have 5 times the amount of population, and I think it's 10 times the budget that we have. Should exceed our contribution on this issue, but at the very minimum, match our contribution so that we can create housing for the homeless and get to functional zero, which is what we all want. I'm really thankful and grateful to the commissioner, to both Commissioner Carollo and Chairwoman King, for being so flexible, proactive, and really, wanting to demystify a lot of unfortunate myths that surround this issue and our approach to this issue. During my administration, we're fortunate to have come out from under a federal decree called the Pottinger case, in part because a federal judge determined that we have treated the homeless humanely in ways that unfortunately were not there before. And so we have come out from underneath that federal decree. So I'll just say it very briefly in Spanish and then turn it over to the commissioner. Hoy estamos anunciando con el comisionado Carollo y conjunto con la presidenta de nuestra comisión, Christine King, una pausa en la relocalización temporal de los desamparados en Virginia Key. Esta pausa significa que vamos a continuar a estudiar el sitio, pero la ejecución va a ser una recomendación a la comisión para ver si podemos pausarlo durante la implementación del plan cero que la comisión aprobó hace casi un año, que estamos en el proceso de implementar, conjunto con una facilidad nueva que abrirá en diciembre, si Dios quiere, y conjunto con algunas recomendaciones fuertes que tenemos para el condado de Miami-Dade, que en varios casos ha criticado las sugerencias de nuestra comisión, sin avanzar, de mi punto de vista, muchas soluciones o otorgar más ayuda que necesitamos. Número uno, estamos pidiendo que el condado discontinúe dejando personas que salen de la cárcel en nuestra ciudad, que está aumentando la población de desamparados. Segundo, le estamos pidiendo que el condado identifique sitios afuera de la ciudad de Miami para expandir los servicios que le podemos dar a los desamparados, que desafortunadamente 2/3 de ellos se encuentran en nuestra ciudad, aunque 1/5 de la población del condado es en nuestra ciudad. Y tercero, nosotros, la comisión, conjunto conmigo, estamos tratando de identificar proyectos de vivienda, no solo para las personas de pocos recursos, pero también para nuestros desamparados. Y le pedimos al condado, que tiene un presupuesto 10 veces más grande que la ciudad de Miami, que colaboren en este proceso y por lo menos otorgan los mismos fondos, sino más, de lo que van a otorgar nosotros en la ciudad de Miami. El comisionado va a expandir sobre un programa que también estamos anunciando hoy para darle a él recursos para los parques principales de nuestra ciudad, que merecen recursos para lidiar con asuntos de desamparados que se encuentran en una gran proporción en esos parques, que son lugares donde nuestras familias disfrutan de nuestra bahía y sin duda de los parques nuestros, que son parcelas sin un valor en nuestra ciudad. Así que agradezco mucho la colaboración y cooperación del comisionado, y es un honor estar aquí a su lado.
Thank you, Mayor. And I will not be as elegant or as politically correct as the mayor should be, and the mayor was. I'm just a simple commissioner, so I'm going to speak from the cuff. We have to revisit history, why we're here today. We're here today because the city of Miami, for years, has become the dumping ground for Miami-Dade County for all homeless individuals that are arrested in other parts of the county, whether it's unincorporated Dade or other cities, including felons and others that they arrest They're brought to the county jail next to Doral, but they're let loose here in the city of Miami. And this is why we have a situation where at least 2/3 of the homeless population is inside the city limits. At the same time, the county and some of those elected officials and others that it took until now, after all these years, to express themselves on the homeless situation. It took for us to take these steps for them to come and express themselves, but it wasn't to find an honorable solution, a humane solution for the homeless people in their streets. It wasn't to stand up for the residents of Miami. Many of our women, elderly, kids in many of our streets can't walk through the sidewalk. They got to jump in the streets because the streets are full of tents and homeless individuals. In our Central Park, which is Bayfront Park and the old Museum Park, Maurice Ferré Park now, at any given time at night, you might have as many as 150 homeless people spending the night. That's a huge amount in our Central Park, both for the city of Miami and the rest of Miami-Dade County. At the same time, the reason we're here today is that when the city has attempted in a humane way to take some of these people off the streets so that they don't have to be living with the elements, they could be safer, we call the homeless shelter. There are no beds left. So we're stuck with having to have people in the streets. Last but not least, the county solution has always been that every shelter, every facility for homeless has to be built in the city of Miami limits. And that's not so, and that's not right. I think if anything we've learned through the pandemic is that you could do so many things from so many places. That's not the workplace. And the county's got at least 2 major facilities, hospitals, one in South Dade, one in Doral. There are many other facilities throughout the county from private or governmental agencies. So I wanted to express the reasons why we're here today and in what I have agreed with the mayor that are the steps that we need to take and see the county take if they're going to be a real partner in this and work with the residents of Miami. One, we have to have within the next few weeks for the county through the Homeless Trust or any other agency that give monies, beds available at any time that City of Miami personnel, whether police or other, call to place homeless people. Those beds have to be available to us. 2, before the end of the month, the county has to stop through their correctional system, their jails, dumping, letting individuals, whether homeless or otherwise, that were arrested in unincorporated Miami-Dade County or other cities in Miami-Dade County, they have to stop in letting them out in city limits. They must be let out in the county facility in unincorporated Dade next to Doral. It's not fair that all these people are let loose here, and then this is why we have such a high homeless population, and particularly in Overtown, Liberty City, Little Haiti, Alapata, Little Havana, and downtown Miami. Last but not least, the county has to show good faith if For instance, as the chairman of the Homeless Trust, Ron Book, texted me after last week's meeting, the very next day, that he loved the idea of tiny homes. Well, they need to find locations within Miami-Dade County so they can put some of these tiny homes that are not inside city limits. And they cannot tell me that they don't have land in this massive county with all the land that Miami-Dade County controls and has. But we have to start shifting all the load to the city of Miami residents, that every single person that's homeless or needs some kind of help, whether for addiction, mental health, or other, it's in the city of Miami that that's going to be handled. Now, those 3 points between now and when the City of Miami Commission hears this subject again, as we had agreed, which would be the second meeting in September. If the county is working in good faith with us, we will work in good faith with them and put a pause for 6 months in putting tiny homes in Virginia Key or any other area. But we expect them, as one commissioner from the county recently stated, that she could find locations in other parts of the county for tiny homes. We expect them to do that. It shouldn't be only when the wealthy in Key Biscayne, a small group of wealthy in Key Biscayne, take an elitist attitude, and they're upset because homeless people are going to be placed 5 miles away from them. My God, 5 miles away from them, and they're upset about that. Well, I frankly was shocked when I saw some of our colleagues in the county come out attacking the city of Miami, but never before have they come out and said a word about all the homeless in the streets of Miami. So our people have to put up with what's out there that all of you have seen, but others can't even have them 5 miles away. At least we're trying to find a humane solution for them. But I'm going to say to you even more why I think some of this has happened. Sadly, homelessness has become a business for many. The Homeless Trust takes in $70 million a year. Now, times that, times the last 10 years, it's a lot of money. Why do we still have the same problem? And of course, as I explained to you, a lot of the problem is created by the county letting loose of homeless people that have been arrested in other parts of the county in Miami. But their solution is for the city of Miami to pour millions of more dollars in addition to the $10 million that we're putting this year so that we can solve the problem. And we're supposed to trust them? Well, what they're going to do if we give them more money, it's like a sinkhole. They're going to keep taking and taking, and the problem is still going to be out there. Let me go over some of the complaints that you were hearing so I can separate facts from fiction as to what was happening. Because even though we're going to recommend to the commission to pause for now, because truly the city of Miami does not want to be in the business of having to do the work of a homeless trust or others. Only because we've been forced to have we been looking at this. You'll, of course, remember that how can we have tiny homes in Virginia Key? My God, the ecology, the environment, the manatees. Well, aren't these beautiful? Look at this. Here's some more. All kinds of colors. And if we don't have your color here, I'm sure we can find it. Look at these. No, ladies and gentlemen, these are not the ones we're going to put out there. These are there already. Yes, surprise, surprise, they're there already. And any one of you could rent them for $65 a night or day, $2,000 a month. Maybe if you're renting the whole month, they'll give you a deal. And they're within just a few hundred feet of scores of bathrooms. So that's the next one that I read in the Herald. And Joey, correct me if I was wrong, that some county elected official said that their people from water and sewer were telling them that it would cost us at least $3 million to connect to sewers from that location. Well, surprise, surprise, I found that there is a business that's there with a couple of trailers within just a few hundred feet from where we're going to be putting the homeless if we have no choice but to take them there. And look what I found. 4 toilets and 2 sink bowls inside container trailers. Now, I'm sure they're not going into the ground. They're going to sewers. There you go. But it gets better. Much better. The same place that the lady took a main role in attacking us and talking about the ecology and everything else, I found out that this is a no-bid contract that was given for 5 years, but for the last 2 years it's expired, and they try to keep it a hush-hush. But the worst part is that it was only for 2,052 square feet. 2,052 square feet. An acre has under 44,000 square feet. And they've taken over several acres from the city of Miami in this site. In fact, all the little kits that they claim go to the mountain bike area and all this stuff. Here's a nonprofit corporation, Virginia Key Bicycle Club, for the mountain bikes. Where's their mailing address? Hialeah. Ain't that great? Residents of Miami not only are paying for homeless, but we're paying for about 130 acres of land, including beaches, that a small group of people have like their own private club. From Hialeah, and I'm sure many other areas outside of the city of Miami. Now, they have all kinds of container trailers that the city hasn't approved to be placed there. And look what it says here. Danger, men drinking. That's for the people that were claiming that families would walk through the trails with their children. And let me tell you why that's another bunch of hogwash. Because any parent that takes a child through those trails is being negligent. Because they're putting themselves and their kids in major danger, because bikes are zooming through there 30 miles an hour in a place, frankly, that they shouldn't be. Because when you talk about mountain biking, you're talking about areas that are open, not full of trees that if you fall or make the wrong turn, you're going to hurt yourself bad. And I'll go there in a minute. Here's all the beer that they're having over there. Here's beer and hard drinks. And at night, that the park is supposed to be closed by sundown, look at the bonfires. Now, police reports. This area here, without homeless, because supposedly the homeless are, I guess, I don't know what, if their urine is different than ours, or they claim that they're going to destroy the island. But here's just the last few months, the last few years. 284 police incident reports of problems that we've had from non-homeless in the island. And then on the little mountain trail, in the last few years, 68 incidents where we have had to send fire rescue, most of them riding the bike trail with traumatic injuries to the head, to arms, dislocated shoulders, you name it. And City of Miami is carrying a heck of a liability. In fact, I was just by there the other night, and to my surprise, maybe some of you could find out and help me, Key Biscayne is sending truckloads full of something to the sewer plant. I don't know what's inside. I started getting the feeling that I was in, that zone 51. It was all mysterious. It was at night. And trucks coming full of something to leave at the water treatment plant. We went by the site where we were looking at putting the homeless. Well, what I did find were about 15 cars and one big party with barbecuing. This is about 10:30 at night. It's supposed to be closed. Let's talk about the environment, since this is another one of the major attacks. So you can see the hypocrisy that's been behind all this. This plant that the county runs, the sewer plant, is the oldest sewer plant in America and the largest sewer plant in America, 117 acres. It was built in the 50s when there was very limited amount of standards. Let me read to you one article that came from our own public broadcasting television, WLRN. Pump failure at sewer plant prompts another South Florida beach warning. That's the title. And it says, dated October 14, 2019, a weakened sewer spill at Miami-Dade County's Virginia Key treatment plant triggered another round of beach warnings. Health officials advise swimmers to steer clear of water on beaches at Virginia Key, Key Biscayne, and Fisher Island on Sunday after about 100,000 gallons of treated sewage spilled from the plant into a lagoon, that was Jimbo's Lagoon, that flows into a coastal water, said Water and Sewer Department spokesman Jennifer Misemer Skoll. This is another one that's more recent. I think you all might remember this one. This is Miami Herald reporting June 4th this year, 2022. The department's water treatment plant in Virginia Key can handle an average daily flow of 143 million gallons of sewage. Sunday afternoon, the facility was reporting more than 310 million gallons of wastewater and rainwater that infiltrated the system during the stormy weather. Officials said wastewater is overflowing underground at the treatment plant and flowing into Biscayne Bay. The truth is that the biggest ecological disaster that Virginia Key faces, in fact, I dare to say all of Miami-Dade County faces, is their water and sewer plant. Not 20, 30, 40, or 50 homeless that could be sent there. In fact, maybe many of you don't know this, but you know what they do with our water? They got a long pipe, and they take it out about 2.5 miles out, and it goes right into our bay. Now, what do you think that's doing to the bay? Do any of you get excited and want to eat fish that are in that area? I don't think so. And this is what they're doing to our bay. But it gets better. The federal government is stopping them in doing that in the next few years, where they can't do it anymore. So you know what their solution is? They're going to be spending billions of dollars. So right at Virginia Key, they could go right on down thousands of feet into the earth, and that's where they're going to dump hundreds and hundreds of thousands of gallons of sewage. And these people have the audacity to say that a handful of homeless are going to ruin the ecology of Virginia Key? I'm sorry, but these people are a bunch of hypocrites. They're the ones that have let this problem go on for years, haven't done anything about it, and now that we want to do something about it, they're upset because it's bothering some of their rich and famous friends, because we're going to put them within 5 miles of them. And the other point is, remember what I said, homelessness sadly has become a business for many. Some of these same county-sponsored organizations, if the city is successful, first, they're going to look real bad, because what have they done for the last decades? Secondly, they're afraid that the federal government is going to give money to the city because we would have shown that we have been successful, and they're going to lose out on all this money. So yes, homelessness has become a business to some, but the first thing that I did when I came back as a commissioner 4.5 years ago, the mayor mentioned it, Pottinger. We were under Pottinger, the only city in America that had those handcuffs. And I presented a motion that the commission approved, where we went back into court and we won at the trial level and at the appellate level, and Pottinger was done away with. So we've been working at this since we've been back. Someone else has been working very hard at this because she's had a major impact from homelessness in her community, is Chairwoman Christine King. She's been courageous in the statements that she's made and the votes that she's made, because she cares about finding a solution that none of these mayors give you. All they talk to you about is why we can't do it here, why we can't do it there, but they don't give you any real solutions how to solve this problem. And I dare to say to you, it's because they really don't want it to be solved. But our residents do. And I represent the residents of Miami. And I will tell you that as long as I'm around, City of Miami will never be a colony to Miami-Dade County. We are an independent city. We are the flagship city of the state of Florida. And we want to work with the county. We've given them 3 key points. But if they don't, we'll take the adequate steps to make sure that our residents are protected and that the homeless people in not just the city of Miami, but overall in Miami-Dade County, are treated with dignity and in a humane fashion. Last but not least, on May of this year, the commission approved the resolution that instructed the city attorney to try in the best way that we could in speaking to the county for them to stop letting homeless people and others that were arrested outside of the city of Miami out into our streets, and instructed her that if the county will not work with us, that she is free to file a legal suit against the county. So that is there, and I will say to you, if the county refuses to work with us, I would hope that the city attorney files that suit before the month is up. But not least, why are we starting in Bayfront Park, in Maurice Ferre Park? Because these are central parks, not just for the city of Miami, as I said before, but for the whole county. And we're having a huge population of homeless people there. So we're going to start there. But this goes to all of our neighborhoods. And the county could either become a partner and work with us, or they could get the heck out of the way and let us resolve the problem that they haven't wanted to or even acknowledge that is out there. I'll go briefly in Spanish, Mayor. El día de hoy estamos reunidos aquí por las siguientes razones que hay que señalar. Y voy a hablar y ser bien claro en esto. La razón principal es que mientras la ciudad de Miami este año se está gastando más de $10 millones en la población desamparada en las calles, para que nos tengan cama las agrupaciones del condado que se encargan de esto, cada vez que vamos a mandarle personas desamparadas para ellos, para sacarlo de nuestros vecindarios y darle algo humano, nos dicen que no tienen camas. La segunda, el condado ha llevado a la práctica, por eso tenemos una población tan alta de desamparados adentro de los límites de la ciudad de Miami. El condado ha llevado a la práctica de cuando arrestan desamparados y otros adentro del condado o en otras ciudades de este condado, no los sueltan en la cárcel de ellos que está en las partes no incorporadas, los sueltan en la ciudad de Miami. Entonces por eso tenemos esta población tan alta de desamparados en nuestra ciudad de Miami. Tercero, el condado ha llevado la política que en el único lugar que pueden haber camas para los desamparados, facilidades que le den servicios de la droga, servicios mentales, etcétera, tiene que ser en la ciudad de Miami. Y eso no es así, porque todos sabemos, sobre todo después de la pandemia, que la mayoría de los trabajos ahora se pueden hacer en cualquier parte. El condado tiene 2 hospitales grandes de Jackson Memorial, uno en el sur y uno en Doral, y tienen facilidades por todo el condado para dar servicios. ¿Por qué tiene que ser nada más en la ciudad de Miami? Yo fui electo para representar a los residentes de la ciudad de Miami. Y a esos son los que tenemos que defender, que por tantos años le han tirado sin importarle y sin ninguna de estas personas que se quejan porque nosotros estamos buscando soluciones, nunca han alzado su voz a ayudar a los residentes de la ciudad de Miami. No le importa que vean nuestras calles llenas de desamparados, con carpas, que nuestras mujeres, personas mayores, niños no puedan caminar por cera y se tengan que tirar por las calles para caminar. Y lo único que tienen que hacer ustedes, que lo han visto, estoy seguro, pero vayan, que lo vean. Y eso ha sido cada día, y ninguna de estas personas le ha importado o ha buscado solución. Entonces, cuando la ciudad de Miami busca una solución, porque no han forzado a hacerlo, no porque queremos. Nosotros no queremos estar en el negocio de buscar lugares para que los desamparados vivan. Hemos tenido que hacer esto porque los millones que le damos a las agencias del condado no han servido para mucho. Porque el problema sigue, no nos dan las camas necesarias. Entonces, lo que estamos anunciando en el día de hoy es que vamos en buena fe poner un paro temporario. Puede ser de 6 meses, pero todo depende hasta donde el condado quiera cooperar con nosotros. Que estamos poniendo al condado 3 puntos para poder trabajar y resolver esto. Uno, que cuando se llama al condado, a las agencias que tiene el condado, mejor dicho, que nos tengan las camas suficientes para poder sacar a los desamparados de las calles de la ciudad de Miami. Porque obviamente la prioridad se la dan a los que no viven en la ciudad de Miami. Segundo, que paren inmediatamente de soltar la cantidad inmensa de cientos y cientos de desamparados cada año de la cárcel del condado cuando lo arrestan, personas que han arrestado en el condado, en áreas no incorporadas o en otras ciudades, pero la sueltan y la traen a Miami y los residentes nuestros somos los que tenemos que sufrir las consecuencias. Que paren esos inmediatamente. Y tercero, ya que hasta el presidente del Homeless Trust me mandó un texto a decirme que le encanta la idea de las casitas pequeñas, los tiny homes, que busquen lugares en los próximos 6 meses o antes, en partes del condado, afuera de la ciudad de Miami, para que se construyan. No quieren que se construyan en Virginia aquí, porque se han molestado algunos de los elitistas, amigos de ellos. Perfecto, que busquen otros lugares afuera de la ciudad de Miami para que construyan estas casas y ellos le den los servicios. El condado tiene 2 otros hospitales principales, además del Jackson, adentro de la ciudad de Miami. Tienen el del Doral, que es inmenso, y tienen el del sur del condado. Tienen facilidades por todas las partes que pueden dar estos servicios. Así que esos son los 3 puntos que le estamos poniendo sobre la mesa. Le estamos dando todas las oportunidades para que después no se quejen que hicimos las cosas por nosotros mismos. Pero como lo enseñé en inglés, punto por punto fui enseñar que todas las excusas que han estado dando porque no se puede llevar estas casitas pequeñas ahí para los desamparados son falsas, totalmente falsas. Por último, quisiera reconocer la valentía de nuestra presidenta de la comisión, la comisionada Christine King, que se ha tomado una postura en defender los residentes no solo de su distrito, pero de toda la ciudad de Miami. Porque la ciudad no es colonia del condado y nunca lo vamos a hacer. Queremos trabajar con ellos en resolver estos problemas, pero si ellos quieren seguir la postura de no resolver los problemas, entonces los vamos a tener que resolver nosotros. Y lo único que les pido es que entonces no se metan en el medio y nos dejen seguir hacia adelante. Una cosa más que voy a decir nada más. La persona oficial electa que estaba amenazando que iban el condado a quitarle la isla Virginia aquí a la ciudad de Miami, no hay nada que exista que porque nosotros fuéramos a llevar homeless, desamparados, a Virginia aquí, puedan hacerlo. No existe. Pero que tenga cuidado porque revise los papeles del puerto de Miami, el aeropuerto de Miami y el famoso Parcel Bay atrás de la arena de basquetbol, porque con mucho gusto no le damos solo un pedacito de Virginia aquí para atrás para el condado, le damos la isla entera de Virginia aquí si quieren, pero el aeropuerto y el puerto de Miami nos los van a tener que dar para atrás. Gracias. Pregunta para el alcalde, para mí. Any questions for the mayor, Mike?
Una pregunta, alcalde. El argumento principal que he escuchado en contra de este plan no es de parte de residentes de Key Biscayne, es de personas que usan estos terrenos como un parque público. Ese es el argumento de ellos. Esas casitas, por ejemplo, están en la parte histórica de la playa y se rentan hasta las 4:30, 5:30. No son casas para vivir.
Bueno, estás claro. las personas, y me alegro que dijiste eso, porque yo mismo he ido a cenar, a almorzar en estos días aquí en Biscayne, y todo el mundo me trata a mí tan amable como siempre. Nadie está al tanto de esto en Key Biscayne, nada más que un grupo pequeño de elitistas. Pero estás clara en decir que son personas adentro de Virginia Key. Y las personas son las que expliqué. La señora que tiene una concesión que nunca se llevó a subasta, que la obtuvo hace 7 años por 5 y lleva 2 años en que se venció y sigue con ella. Lo interesante es que era para 2.056 pies cuadrados. Un acre tiene un poquito menos de 44.000 acres. La señora tiene varios acres que se ha obtenido. Y como enseñé aquí en las fotos anteriores, esta es una de las que dice que no va a haber forma de llevar el orine, los excrementos de los homeless, porque nos va a costar millones de dólares ponerlo por el sistema de sewer del condado. Pero sin embargo, ella, algunos cientos de pies al lado donde pensamos llevarlo, tiene 4 inodores. Entonces, ¿cómo es que nos va a costar a nosotros tan caro? Mira, Virginia Key tiene más baños que muchas ciudades pequeñas de Estados Unidos, por todas las partes. Es más, el condado recientemente nos aprobó para hacer más baños en la playa del norte. La playa antigua tiene muchísimos baños. Por toda la isla hay baños. Ahora, ¿cuál es la otra queja que tienen que me dijiste? Para contestarte una por una.
Question over here. When you say that the county is dumping homeless folks in the city, what does that look like in the real world? Are there any specific cases you can point to, or is that just kind of word on the street?
Oh, no, it's not word on the street. Our police department for the last 2 months has been monitoring that, and they've been able to identify dozens upon dozens of homeless individuals and others that have been arrested in other parts of Miami-Dade County, and this is where they're let loose, in Miami. Now, that's not right. Now, you wonder why we have such a high concentration of homeless in the city? That's the main reason.
Is that just because the jails are in Miami, or are they like?
No. The jail where they go is unincorporated Dade County, TGK, right next to Doral. They're driving them to Miami and letting them loose inside the city limits from the jail that they were in. And that's the problem.
Commissioner, have anyone from the city, the mayor, or anyone has reached out recently to the county mayor about this before what you're saying right now?
Well, unfortunately, the mayor left. You could speak to him, but I've been letting the mayor deal with them. I've gotten text from a commissioner that they're going to work in all 3 points that I spoken about here, that I only got to 2 of them in the program I was in yesterday. The chairman of the Homeless Trust says he loves, and he sent me a text, he loves the tiny homes idea. But I also hear from the mayor that they want another $12 million plus from us. And that's the whole point. This is all about money for these guys, not solving the problem. We want to solve the problem in a humane, dignified way. Now, another problem that we have is that many, and I would dare to say the majority of the homeless population that we have in Miami-Dade County, it's not from here. They've been here for weeks, months, to up to a year. They've come from other cities in America. We need to, in a humane way, help these people get back where they're from, where they'll feel better, where they have loved ones there. And we're willing to do that also.
Commissioner, so as of now, is it just up in the air where these homeless people will be placed? Or are you still, really leaning towards Virginia Key or Liberty City?
No, let me be specific. As of now, what we're talking about, that we're going to present to the commission to put on hold the plan so that we could get the kind of cooperation in these 3 points that I mentioned here from the county. The commission would have to vote on that. Neither the mayor nor I can just decide it by ourselves. The commission did approve that the one site that had been approved, and it still is Virginia Key, but the commission also asked the manager to bring additional sites that they could look at in other parts, inside the city and outside the city. Now, I will say this to you. The administration picked this particular site at Virginia Key that I'm okay with if we have to go with it, but I believe we have some better sites in Virginia Key than that one, and actually even bigger.
Do you know where that specific site is, the location of it?
Yeah, it's towards the end where Jimbo's lagoon was at.
Commissioner,
Yes.
you addressed some of the concerns that we've been hearing since this plan was proposed, but what is your response to Black residents and even county officials who are worried that this may impact the historical significance of Virginia Key?
You know, why is it when people have no other sound reason to come at something, they have to pull the race card? What does this have to do with the historical Black Beach? By the way, young lady, when I was mayor, I created, with Arthur Teal, that trust. I went running into the water swimming with Atherley Range the day we opened it. That's a mile and a half away, the place that we're looking at. It's got nothing to do whatsoever with the historical Black Beach. And those that are using that as the final straw to throw at us, they should be ashamed of themselves. This has got nothing to do with a historical Black Beach or race or religion or creed. In fact, I'm beginning to see that what it has to do with is a bunch of elitists and people that want to keep making money with the homeless, discriminating the homeless. Because if they were sincere, I just brought to you the problem that we have with the sewage plant. They're saying that it's going to cost $3 million to put toilets there. I should show you. They're right next door, and they're all over the island, including in the historical Black Beach. These here, you know where they're at, right? Or do you?
No.
Well, then I guess you haven't been to the historical Black Beach. You should go there. It's a lot of history you'll find out. They're there at the beach. They're the ones that are renting this for $65 a day.
Pero se rentan por día, o sea, para usar la playa, ¿no?
Yeah.
Do you mind holding that picture up, please?
Well, that's, which color do you like? This one?
Thank you.
The back? I forgot which is the Arthur Teal one, which is the Range, and the others.
Commissioner, this was an idea that was endorsed by majority of the commission just less than a few weeks
Yes.
ago. And it was something that's been much discussed over the last week, but I'm curious what changed? What changed for you and for the mayor between then and now for you to be okay with putting this on?
Joey, let me be very specific. What has changed? What has changed is that some in the county apparently are reaching out to some of us in the city, saying that they want to work on the points that I brought to you here. Look, we've been forced to do this. We don't want to get into the business of doing tiny homes, getting involved with the homeless. Frankly, we have thousands of City of Miami residents that need affordable housing. That's what we've been working on. But if the county doesn't want to live up to the responsibility, then we have no choice to move on this. So the mayor and I were discussing it, and if the county, before we start making the investment on the tiny homes, and we would go to someone that we could have them within a couple of weeks, at least 50 of them built. So it's going to be quick. And these would be tiny homes that would be 10 or 15% cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter than any material that's out there. They'll be termite free. They'll be basically soundproof with the material we're using. And they're not permanent. But to answer your question more direct, if the county is willing to work with us in having the beds that we need to get people off the street in a humane way, and then stop releasing homeless people and others that have been arrested outside of the city of Miami into the city of Miami limits, and then we could start the process of working into the future, building other shelters, other places for tiny homes outside of the city of Miami, then I think it's worth everyone's time to just put a pause in this altogether. And we're talking about not just Virginia Key, but any other place inside city limits. I want to see if the county's sincere, and they indeed have locations in other parts of the county for tiny homes. We don't want to take millions of additional federal funds away from the Homeless Trust or any other county organization. Let them run it, let them do it. But if they're not going to, if they're not going to solve the problem, then all that I ask is to please get out of the way and let us do the job that you don't want to do, because we'll do it, and it'll be successful.
Comisionado, lo que no he escuchado de su respuesta, más allá de la concesión y de los baños, que es un parque público que niñas en traje de baño usan para remar, para alquilar kayaks, para montar bicicleta, o sea, que es un parque público donde no hay, o sea, que pueden disfrutar de la naturaleza sin vivienda alguna, ya sea homeless, ya sea un condominio, o sea, que es un parque público donde nadie vive para mantenerlo así, como esas casitas se alquilan durante el día para usar la playa, después a las 4:30, 5:30 you're out. O sea,
Pero ven acá, Ana, ¿acaso los homeless se van a comer una niña en bikini si la ve o no?
A mi hija de 15 años remar en traje de baño si los hombres
Pero entonces sí va a dejar las hijas de la gran parte de los residentes de la ciudad de Miami que tengan que estar por las calles, que los homeless se han cogido las calles enteras en los vecindarios donde viven. Entonces lo que hay que defender son los riquichones que van allá en un grupo privado, porque ahí lo que se ha convertido eso es un club privado, que el resto de Miami no sabe que está ahí y no lo dejan que vayan ahí. Y eso es el problema, con una señora que lo que el Estado haciendo a la ciudad de Miami es quitándole varios acres cuando el contrato decía 2,000 pies cuadrados. O sea, es correcto que te firmen un contrato sin que vaya a subasta por 2,000 pies cuadrados y después te cojan cientos de miles de acres de pies cuadrados adicional y no lo están pagando la ciudad de Miami. Y esta es la que va a gritar de las niñas en bikini. Mira, que se preocupen más de las niñas que están yendo ahí por la noche fumando marihuana, metiéndose droga, como enseñé aquí la tomadera que hay después que las luces se bajan. Eso es lo que se deben preocupar ustedes. Y que se preocupen de los residentes nuestros. Porque si los homeless estos son tan malos que tú no quieres que una hija tuya esté ni siquiera a 1,000 pies de uno de ellos en bikini, entonces, ¿por qué no ha hecho nada? Tú que eres reportera, con lo que está pasando en las calles nuestras personas mayores, nuestras mujeres, nuestros niños, que ni siquiera pueden caminar por muchas cuadras, se tienen que tirar a la calle. Entonces, eso no importa. No, eso no es justo, Ana.
Estoy hablando de Virginia aquí específicamente. ¿Por qué ese lugar? Es mi punto. O sea,
Porque es el lugar que no hay ningún residente que vive ahí. Esa es la respuesta más clara que te puedo dar.
Commissioner,
Yes.
what's the response to
Look, that's great for show, but how come they haven't shown it? How come they haven't shown you? Where's the reverter clause for bringing homeless in the key? There's none. There's none. There's no reverter clause for that issue. Since I was mayor before, I went through the reverter clauses that we had in Virginia Key with a fine-tooth comb. I know what's there, what's not, and there are no reverter clauses there. But if they want to talk about reverter clauses, I'll be happy to engage in that. In fact, I'll even give them Virginia Key back, but we're getting the airport, we're getting the Port of Miami back. How about that? So if they want to talk one particular person from the county, cow manure on this, you know, I'm surprised that the same person that's come up with that hasn't ever come out to defend the residents of Miami with the kind of homeless situation that we have in many, many of our streets and neighborhoods. Only when it might affect Key Biscayne, because God forbid we're going to put homeless 5 miles away. Anything else?
Also, like public transportation, there's no services on the island.
Well, that's not so either. We have at least 4 bus stops in Virginia Key.
And none that are at the location.
Excuse me?
And none that are at the location.
Well, that's no problem. That's very simple. All you need is a couple of, the golf carts like you guys have in the golf courses over there. That's all we need to bring them right to the front of Virginia Key. There's 4 in the whole island. 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4. And in fact, if your next question is going to be, where are they going to shop? We'll be very happy to provide city trolleys, and those that want to shop for food or anything other, we'll bring them twice a week to Key Biscayne. They could go to your Winn-Dixie, your CVS, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of restaurants that are going to give coupons to the homeless so they could get discounts in the restaurants there. Now, you also have, I believe Mount Sinai is still there, right?
I'm not a resident.
Oh, okay. I think Mount Sinai is still there. And then on the other end, on Brickell, just the minute you come out of the bridge, we have another facility, medical facility, that we have on the other end. So all these excuses that are being given are very shallow, very, very shallow. And by the way, one of the things we would do there, we would have one place, one trailer, where there would be food that would be given. We would have other trailers that we would have mental health services, service for addiction, and last but not least, service to help people get employment if they want to.
Comisionado, quería preguntarle por algunas preocupaciones que se han manifestado referente a la posibilidad de que esto abra un camino para que en el futuro en Virginia aquí se comiencen a hacer desarrollos de construcción.
Con permiso, ¿con cuál medio usted está?
NTN 24.
NTV 24, eso es de Colombia, ¿no?
Sí, correcto.
Está bien, bueno. Me alegra que están más preocupados de esto que de Petro ahí en Colombia hoy en día. Pero no sabía que esto cogió esa clase de importancia.
Claro que sí, claro.
Mire, esa es otra, para decirlo claramente, falsedad que están regando, porque eso no puede pasar en Virginia Key. No puede pasar, porque de entrada los tiny homes que estamos hablando son estructuras no permanentes, son temporarias, que se quitan y se ponen. Anything else? Going once, going twice, gone.